Good morning, InVigorate patients. I'm going to do a video on ribs today. So I've just seen a lovely patient who I've given a couple of exercises to, so I thought great opportunity to get a few videoed. So I'm going to do a whole series of things. If I've prescribed you one or two of these and you want to have a play with the others, feel free, but just use kind of acute pain, use discomfort as your kind of limit. These are designed to be gentle mobility exercises, not here to aggravate. So if you've got any queries, if you try something that doesn't feel quite right, just drop me an email and we can chat about it. Okay, so we're going to start off with a bit of breathing work. Now, I've got a softball, Pilates softball, which can be a really nice, kind of inexpensive bit of kit that's lovely for sort of helping us to get moving. You'll notice this is quite deflated, so if you've got like a deflated kids football or something as well, that'd be great. Equally, feel free to use a pillow or folded up pillow or something like that. So I'm going to start off on my side. Now, if I was on my side over a pillow, I'm going to sort of put it underneath my lower rib cage, underneath my kind of, waist and lower rib cage. If I'm doing that with my softball, again, kind of lower rib cage area. And you'll see that that kind of flattens out my upper waist curve a bit. So it creates a little bit of openness through the rib cage. Sorry, we've got a pillow making an appearance. There we go. So I'm going to place my hand here on my rib cage. Now, if that feels uncomfortable for you, do feel free to do that instead. Like, give yourself a bit of a hug. Equally, you could have your arms like that. It's just nice to get a bit of feedback from this area. So whatever feels right for you, feel free to kind of play around with what suits you. But a little bit of feedback, because this is an area that doesn't move a lot. It's an area that we very rarely pay attention to, and especially if it's feeling really grotty and stiff, it's really hard to actually just feel what you're doing here. So a little bit of feedback, a little bit of sort of gentle pressure, a bit of a gentle hug around that area, even that be like a heavy blanket or something, can be enough to give you a little bit of feedback to breathe into. So I'm going to take a big deep breath in, and that should come up and out into the outside of my rib cage. So you might feel your rib cage expand up into your hand, and this through a bit of gentle pressure can be really nice. And then as I exhale, I'm going to just kind of melt my ribs back towards my spine. Inhale and expand. And exhale. Now you might notice I've got my knees quite high up here. If I have my knees a bit lower down, then I tend to become a bit banana shaped in my lower back, and then it's really hard to get my ribs back and down again, okay? So I'm just going to bring my knees high enough up in order that my lower back can flatten out a little bit, and I can start to feel like I can breathe my ribs kind of back towards my spine, okay? So you might feel some really nice expansion through that area. Having done that, this is a nice opportunity to start to roll forwards and backwards on our rib cage. So if we think we've got all our spinal levels coming up our spine like that stack of our vertebral column, we've got each rib coming off that. So it's a relatively stable unit, but we're going to get a gentle twist going through that. So we're just aiming to torsion it a little bit. So again, feel free to use something for your head, and again, we're going to have our hand here. Now it might be, again, that you have kind of lower hand comes up to give you a little bit of a hug. It's up to you, really. Now we can either feel like we're rolling our top ribs back a little way, and then rolling them forwards again. So you can see I'm using my hand to give me a bit of a push. So I'm going to maybe become a little bit more C-shaped this way, and then roll forwards again and become C-shaped the other way. This might almost mimic what happens to our rib cage when we're doing a cat and cow, but with a bit of a rotation. Or I might just feel the surface of my bottom rib cage on the floor. So here now I'm going to try and roll forwards onto the kind of front of my bottom rib cage. That can be quite a nice driver as well. Then I'm going to roll onto the back of my bottom rib cage. So that might be where you guide it from. So actually we start to feel like we're making different contact with different parts of our rib cage on the floor. And obviously when we then swap over sides, we do the same on the other side. So it's really up to you what feels most meaningful to you. Some of you may have already done some arm openings as part of your rehab, and now we're going to take our rib cage roll, which we've maybe done 6 or 8 of on each side. We're now going to keep our knees stacked. Again, probably hips at 90, just to kind of take the pressure out of our lower back. And then we're going to start to roll our top rib cage back, really opening as if we're trying to shine our chest towards the ceiling. And then we can either leave our hand here or on our waist, or we can open out our top hand behind us, okay? But at least we're leading with our rib cage. We're taking the strain out of the front of the shoulder here, okay? So to recap, we're going to roll open through our rib cage, shining our chest up towards the ceiling. Knees stay stacked, and we're really moving from our midsection, our torso. And then if you feel comfortable too, you can bring your arm open as well. You may even spend a couple of breaths there. Inhaling, feeling the rib cage expanding, and every exhale you might find you go a little bit further. Feel free to pop a pillow underneath your back arm if you feel like you can chill a little bit more comfortably there, okay? And then roll your rib cage forwards again. I'm doing lots of hands-on my rib cage just to show you how you can guide yourself. Feel free to do these without your hand once you're kind of comfortable and au fait with things. So quite a lot of you guys that I see kind of pop your rib cage forwards and carry a lot of tension when you're working. So we have this kind of shift forwards through your lower rib cage. So we're going to do an exercise that sort of helps to bring you back, helps to find a bit of expansion through the back of the rib cage, helps to open out your lower back as well. I'm going to use a block for underneath my head because I know that when I'm completely flat, my neck feels a bit under strain. Feel free to use as much prop as you need underneath your head in order that you don't feel like your neck is straining to be comfortable. So if you feel really cramped and hunched there, just prop yourself up a little bit more, okay? So I'm going to come onto my back. I'm going to reach my fingers up towards the ceiling. I'm going to just check in that I'm resting kind of in the middle of my pelvis, lower down. So that's kind of neutral pelvis, I suppose you'd call it. And we're really not going to aim to be bracing in any particular place here. So we're not going to be crunching lower back to the ground or anything like that. I just want you to kind of balance on the back of your pelvis. I'm going to bring my hands above my shoulders, and then I'm just going to reach very slightly up towards the ceiling. So my fingertips are going to reach, and what I may feel is that there's like a fractional increase in pressure between the back of my rib cage and the floor. So that might just feel like my rib cage just comes back down to the floor very slightly. Should you need a little bit more feedback, feel free to use a couple of light hand weights. Equally, we could put a TheraBand, like an elastic band, in between your hands, and then do a reach. That might feel really nice. The reach should feel like it comes from down here. If it feels like it's coming from up in your neck, you need to reset, chill your neck out, support your head a little bit better potentially. And then we're really pushing from that mid-rib cage level. And reach from your shoulders, reach from your rib cage. So in this position, I might just rest here. I might find a really quiet breath in through my nose and out through my mouth. And I might just rest with this position and just start to feel a little bit of gentle expansion coming into my inhale around the back of my rib cage. That might feel like you're spreading laterally, and might feel like you're coming into contact with the ground a little bit more. And as you work, you may feel that you're feeling a bit of deep abdominal tension. What we're not looking for is a crunch. We're not looking for us to be shortening at the front. We're not looking for excessive tension, but you might just feel like a sort of deep security in your deep abdominals there. And then we can add extra little layers of challenge. I may not have the space to demonstrate this, but we could lengthen out a leg. As you're doing this, keep reaching, reaching, reaching. Or you can float up into tabletop. But again, we're still not going to crunch our lower back to the ground. We may feel more abdominal activity, but we also always want to incorporate a bit of hip extension into this as well, so we're not just tightening up through the whole of our front body. So that's our reach, and the last thing I'm going to show you is a side-sitting cat-cow. So this is great for kind of creating that lateral expansion again through our rib cage. You can do this resting on your hand or on your elbow. I'll show you both. Really personal preference, and it's kind of up to how you're built, how short your body is, how long your body is, what your arms are doing as well. So I'm just going to sit in a side-sitting position, knees bent up and hand or elbow on the floor. And then I'm going to let my rib cage sag down towards the ground or down towards my arm, and then I'm going to push it up and away and reach the other way. Feel free to let your arm join in, so you can always do like an extra kind of up and over. But we're aiming to make our body C-shape this way and then C-shape that way. Okay, so you could do similar on your elbow, that kind of sink down and then that push up and away. It's really up to you, whatever feels best for you. But this is a really nice one for kind of activating the shoulder blade, activating your rib cage, getting things moving nicely through there as well. So that's 5 things that you can be doing for your rib cage. Have a play, explore. No pressure to get any of these right or wrong, but just kind of explore how we can kind of work into that movement, how we can be a bit more aware and intentional through our rib cage. Get hands on, use your breathing, and have a little play. As always, any questions, any concerns, just drop me an email and I can help you out. Take care.